All right. We are here with Geist of Saint Traft. I actually had to craft it today. I've never owned this card. I was playing Historic, or like normal Historic, and there's like a weird combo where people try to cheat this in play super fast. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know it was in the game. Or I forgot. So I crafted it. I want to try making a deck with it. It's kind of like Light Paws, Core Spirit Dancer, SRAM nonsense. So you just go tall, right? But this starts off with Hexproof, which is pretty useful. It does cost 3, where the other ones kind of cost 2. That is kind of significant, but you can play blue. There's a lot of evasive blue things, right? You can give this flying, so they can't really interact with it too well. Again, it's already got Hexproof. And it starts off essentially swinging as a 6/6 instead of a 2/2, right? That's pretty good too. The Angel is kind of vulnerable, but it can kill your opponent pretty quickly. I don't know if I've ever played against a Geist of St. Traft deck, or at least I can't remember, but it does feel pretty scary. There's not too many ways to really interact with it other than like counter spells. There's some edicts, but we do have some hedge against edicts. We have counter spells as well, because, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? I thought about playing Unsummon and just kind of super early bounced creature nonsense, but I don't really know if I want to go in that direction. It's probably better to make this evasive or larger than it is to just get your opponent's creatures out of the way, because eventually you won't be able to, and then they'll start to be able to block, and then you'll feel kind of bad for bouncing them with very little tempo gain, right? Unsummon dealing 6 damage doesn't actually kill your opponent. Unsummon dealing 24 or 12 might, but you have to obviously repeat Unsummon for that to be the case. I'm running Overwhelming Splendor as like a super late game card. I don't even know how many games are going to get to 8 mana, really. I'm not running any rocks, but it's possible. It would be hilarious. I don't, again, it has to matter, and then it has to like stick and play and continue to matter. It doesn't help you beat stuff like Grixis Control, right? So Geist of St. Traft, now that I'm saying all of this, may actually be Tier 1. I have never seen it in Tier 1, playing the Tier 1 that I have, so hopefully it isn't, but I'm surprised I haven't seen more of it in general. Running all kinds of aura for your removal, Ferrogifies and stuff, right? Enchantments matter when you're playing Ethereal Armor and... what's the other... the all that glitters, right? That kind of matters. There's a saga that matters too, that counts that all, but I'm not super big on that one really. Maul is kind of neat, right? You can also play equipment, whereas maybe you couldn't do that with Core Spirit Dancer. That's pretty cool, especially if it just immediately equips and gives flying. Just everything we're looking for. War of the Alliance can tutor the really strong cards in my deck, namely SRAM and Light Paws, which is why it's in here. One ring could turn the tides in a crucial turn, right? Give your face protection, but that does mean they're not going to swing, so it might be harder to actually crack back unless the angel would actually kill your opponent. So we'll see how often that comes up. And then a bunch of lands that aren't any special. No man lands, right? No, not wasting my time. I'm never expecting them to matter. Enchanting like a flying 3/4 dragon, the white one, just seems kind of weird, but yep, that's it. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's roll. Oh, they're on the draw, too? Or we're on the draw? Absolutely riveting. Oh, they have a discard spell on turn 1 as well. Oh, they didn't cast it. Oh, my goodness. Oh, maybe it's a cycle land? Dark Ritual, maybe? Either Dark Ritual or a cycle land. Probably Dark Ritual. Not too many people play the Baron... is it Baronmoor? I think it's Baronmoor. Alright, it's absolutely Dark Ritual. Which I... probably have... no, I don't have to counter it. I don't have to counter it. Thirst for Knowledge. I will counter that, actually. Interesting. No lands. Wow. So, do we just Desperation Dark Ritual here to just get our Rusko in play? Probably. Okay, they top deck the land. Nothing matters. I can tutor a thing to stop this, but not immediately. So that's unfortunate. Which means I also can't, like, do much against it here. Alright, we're just gonna go super aggro. Oh, wait a minute, what is this? They have one blue up, not one black, and it's still... It's still a thing. Interesting. What is going on? I see no reason not to play Fly. I don't think I can not play it, so I'm going to play it. I sort of have to, you know, kill my opponent, as I've learned. Unsummon? It is an unsummon. Look at that. Interesting. Scryed on top. Alright, well, Rusko has done nothing but scry on top for me. It has done nothing but scry on top. Guess I'll do this one. What does that mean? Liliana the Veil, Shieldred's Edict, that other sweeper thing. Paradox Engine. Yep. Whatever. So stupid. It's just so dumb. I feel like I'm just wasting my time playing Geist. I think it's Dark Ritual still. Untapping their stuff right now, I'm not sure what it does for them, but I'm going to find out. So it is a 2-turn clock, but Rusko triggers, so it's probably either a 3-turn clock. They probably won't gain 10 life. I'll leave these two up, probably. Discard a card. No, I'm not doing that. Let's do that, and I'll just lose 2 life. This could change the math a little. They didn't discard anything. I think it is way more important to keep these 2 up, so... Does my opponent do anything on end step? They do not. Unless they gain a bunch of triggers, I'm not worried about it. I can't really stop them from gaining at least 3 anyways, because Dark Ritual would untap these, and I'm sure they could just spam stuff. So, I don't see a reason to try to kill this. Okay, now I will. Dark Ritual? Sure. Oh, I did not want to tap that. I did not want to full control it. I didn't want to do that. I don't know if I'm really concerned with this. Because I can attack it again. And then they're really low on mana. There's a good chance they still survive. But this is probably better than not doing it. So they need to cast something to stop this right now, and then with this remaining mana, they must do something with this land to stay alive. Like, this has to put them to essentially 1. This last card here. You can't explore a non-land to hand, only lands, so that won't help. So I probably want to avoid playing a spell, so they don't have a counter target. I did it! I actually killed Rusko. It only took an hour. Oh, okay. Yep. Sure. Brawl is surprisingly not the worst thing to see. Oh, but what is bad is no double mana. Ooh, nope. Come on. I mean, at least I have a core spirit dancer. I don't know. Doesn't feel great. I need more than that. But, you know what, it's better than not having anything, so. I can't, I mean, I can actually kill Brawl. Did they spend a turn to play it? They do not. They can't stop this trigger, at least. Does it draw a land? Of course not. Why would it? It doesn't matter! It doesn't matter! The fun is over it. Yeah, I was about to say, like I said, this is actually a good matchup. Okay. Alright, I don't know what that's about. They just didn't want to play against Geist. What just happened? They were here, thinking at the end of their first turn on the play. What looked like, I mean, they deliberately roped out, and then their next turn it looked like they were going to do it again, but then gave up? Did they just want to, like, not play against Geist and got salty? Well, if you don't want to play against Geist, just concede. Why would you waste your time roping them out? That doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I've never seen that before. That's a new one. Is that just what people do up here in Tier 1? Is that how Tier 1 players act? I mean, they are the sweatiest. I don't know. I don't know. I'll take it. I won. I guess I won that game. Okay. Zavala feels like a pretty fine matchup, too. You just play Zavala, right? Like, I can't really interact with you too efficiently. Especially on the play. Like, you're actually just really ahead. Every time you play a forest, you're ahead. I don't know. Interesting. Very interesting. They played like the way that I communicate, which is pure salt. Ragavan. This is another one I actually don't get to see very often. I do have an answer to it twice, so we're actually pretty fine here. One of them is a very good answer, too, because it doesn't go back to the command zone. Now, this game would not work if I was on the draw, but I'm not, so... I can't save my timeouts right before I go off. I don't even know what you mean. I am not sure. Oh, another person who doesn't want to play against Geist of St. Draft, and it's a Ragavan player. That's crazy. We just beat Ragavan on turn 0. Okay, what is this? Calyx. Alright, I'm sure this person doesn't concede really quickly. We were actually a moderately good hand. I wish this was anything else, but you know what, it's fine. Hopefully there's no Sithis. I would love a turn 2 play. I don't have a white card to go with this, so it's probably not looking too good as a useful card. Honestly, this is just not looking good as a whole here. But no Sithis, please. Alright, I can't stop that one. Do I play my commander? If I play mine, they get theirs. But I have an answer to theirs, and they don't necessarily have an answer to mine. This is a 3-3. March can just get rid of it. Fin an enchantment and control, blah, 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 blah. Yep. But they can't stop. They can stop me from attacking. Okay, they can also just do that. Sure. Okay, well, we are in severe trouble. I have to do an answer at sorcery speed. Otherwise, they can't have a lot of stuff that interacts with my removal spell, and I obviously don't want that. Yeah, POC players deserve this. Yeah, you'd imagine. You would think. POC players deserve to play against this kind of behavior. Yep. Amen. Alright, so I'm going to actually leave up Essence Capture and exile this with this. Feels really bad, but you know what? I'm going to leave it up. I think it's way more important to do that than quite literally anything else, so... Yep, I don't care how big that is, as long as I'm out racing it. I mean, it can start to stonewall me, but I do have a fly. Alright, Essence Capture is the whole reason I got rid of my Light Paws. Hopefully it works out. It'd be really nice for it to work out. I can't Stubborn Denial. Well, I mean, I can, but it doesn't do what I want it to. Will not accomplish the task at hand. Alright, there we go. So now I get to do this. Still technically can't swing, but this stops an attack for a turn cycle before I put fly. No, you can't race me. What are you doing? What are you doing? Alright, this is going to look weird. No, never mind. I was going to say not cast it, but there's no way I don't cast it. I just am casting it. There's no way I don't. Venturing in the dungeon is better than not doing it. Yeah, we're going to scry here. This is really good, but it has to matter. But you know what? We're here for things to matter, so maybe it will. Oh, they don't deserve it. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, wait, no. Hold on. Yeah. I misread you. I read you backwards. I got you. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense. Yeah, POC players usually actually play the game. Who knows? Maybe they auto-concede against Ragavan, though. POC's like, oh, it's Ragavan. Let me just not play the game. This turns on Stubborn Denial is another reason why I kept it on top. Assuming Stubborn Denial doesn't do anything right now. It kind of does. This is probably important to counter because it makes tokens that can block. So that works out. My opponent is dead in 2 attacks. They must do something next turn that actually stops me from killing them. I don't want to play the land But my opponent's in desperation mode anyways. I'm going to go ahead and not play the land. I'm just going to hold on to it. Goblin. Why not? Let's make a little gobbo. Soak up a damage. Maybe they make a 14-14 trample. And 1 damage matters. Well, they didn't concede instantly, so there's something here. Does Pick Your Poison? That's the new card. Does that make them sacrifice? It's an artifact, enchantment, and flyer? Can't remember the third one. Enchantment enters the battlefield, draw, triggers once a turn, blah, blah, blah. Counters on this, blah. Alright, doesn't matter. No green mana. That's the scarier of the 2 colors in this situation. Good news. So they're going to swing to get a draw trigger off of 6 cents. But there's not really much they can cast that stops me from just killing them right now. 2 of my cards give flying, but they're dead to the angel. Yeah, it looks like they had maybe some kind of naturalize. Couldn't be Besage You anymore. Disenchant or something. But it doesn't... Actually, I really don't even know what could... Just Get Lost and Fateful Absence. I think those would actually make sense to see play here in Tier 1. Alright, well, we can counter Kaya, but Kaya doesn't really do anything anyways. The rest of our hand, I mean, like, the non-Geist part of my hand is not exciting. I don't think I can keep this. Okay, I like this a lot more. Yeah, we're about to get Mana Drain. Unless they just auto-ban it, which wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to play this turn 1, actually. Can I disrupt that? Artifact... I can disrupt this. I don't see why I would, though. Alright, so there's Manatile Reprieve, and then, that's about it for that. This is black and white, so even more board wipes. I don't know what kind of black-white deck is in Tier 1. I feel like it loses to a whole bunch of things. Whoa! Whoa! Okay. You got it. Exile target non-land permanent. I do not care. Alright, well, I'm casting this. I can beat... You know, I got a couple sweepers, I guess. It's not impossible. They don't really have another way to really interact with this, so... It's not bad. They can leave up the Guardian Idol, so I can't swing. Oh, that makes sense, kind of. Okay, that also kind of shuts down my attacks. Let's put this here. Let's get something going that way. My opponent's kind of making me feel like I should play this pre-combat. And the rest of my hand costs 2 anyways. I might as well. Getting a little nervous here. I don't really know what's making me nervous, but something is. Alright. I mean, we got there. Wow. What am I talking about? Alright, Essence Capture is looking real bad. But you know what? It's in my deck. We have a Light Pause on 2. That's pretty useful. Well, not really. There's a bunch of dead removal in my opponent's deck that now has a target. So it's not like the most useful. Alright, I'll get this. I forgot to either... No, I might not have the blue-white Surveil land. I might not own it. Might not own that card. I don't have all the Surveil lands yet. Alright, well, my opponent is Brainstorm locked, apparently, with no land. They're not drawing one next turn. Okay, I'm now very confused. Sure. Sure. They Brainstorm locked themselves and put a land on top. I don't know why. My opponent put 2 lands on top and didn't... What are you doing? Okay, well, they gave me a Geist window, which means they must have some kind of answer to it anyways. Don't know what that answer looks like. About to find out. Hopefully it's -2, -2. Surely it's -2, -2. Okay, apparently it's stone cold nothing. Yep. Got it. Do I play this and then something else? Yeah, why not? I won't really miss Light Paws. It's not doing that much for me. Okay. This is probably a good sign. The way my opponent's playing currently is probably a good sign. But it also might not be. I wouldn't mind seeing Memory Cast right now. I mean, it makes some sense to try to do that right now. And my phone died. They do! Hey, love to see it. I don't remember the last time I've seen this happen. We also drew a really nice string of cards as well. Alright, my opponent probably just didn't draw anything useful. Nice, that was a very clean win there. We went back and forth with interaction. We got another thing that played around some interaction, like instead of just committing everything into Geist. Even though it doesn't have hexproof, so they have a lot of removal. Very surprised they conceded. Let's see, it goes back to my turn. I get 5 lands. Insight here, another enchantment here. Yeah, it's looking pretty bad for them, especially with this memory lapse, so... Nice. Real nice. Alright, well, I have to go. I'm over this anyways. I got way more wins than I thought, actually. I got 7 wins. That's a lot more than I thought playing against Tier 1. I never beat Rusco, though. Just never beat Rusco. Okay, so I didn't know Geist was Tier 1. I've played a fair amount of Tier 1, and I know I had just complained about all of this when I played Liliana, but it all applies here. I don't really know if Geist is a Tier 1 commander. It didn't feel like one, given my deck list. There might be a more tightly tuned one, right? Especially if you don't expect to literally ever play against decks like Pock. If it's completely impossible for you to play like against Pock and stuff, you probably don't want to play Essence Capture. And to a degree, you might not even want your Giver Runes or your Bodyguard or the dog that I can never remember the name of, Selfless Savior. Like, you might not even need that kind of thing. There are some Black Sweepers still. There's Rusco all over the place, which you apparently can't beat. I went like 0-5 against Rusco today. And that's just unfortunate. So with that being said, I can't really recommend it. Right? You have to approach it with a Tier 1's lens. And if you want to play against the Tier 1 strategies, this is another commander that will probably never play the mirror because it's so rarely played. That you get these commanders that kind of get completely screwed over by Wizards because they put them in Tier 1 and now nobody plays them because they're nowhere near good enough to compete in the Tier 1 meta, even though they may be better than a lot of things in Tier 2. So it puts them in purgatory. It puts them in the dumpster. You can't play it against weaker decks, right? And you can't win against stronger decks. This plays against stuff like Ragavan. Ragavan does not care about Geist, right? If Ragavan's on the play, they do not care about Geist of St. Traff. You can have at it. Like, I don't... Unless you have, like, the rune that gives this lifelink, they probably do not care about this. And that's not even a lot of life gain anyways. I'd probably drop the War of Alliance and the One Ring and run even more cheap stuff, right? You take out some of that weird jank like the Essence Capture and even, honestly, Essence Scatter and just run more... just different things that interact with the Tier 1 meta better, because as it stood, this doesn't really do that. Mox Amber could probably still stay. Leaving up a mana the turn you play this is still pretty useful. Mana Tithe and Stubborn Denial, even without Ferocious or Ferocity, whatever, it's still decent. Again, there's probably enough fetch lands to justify Brainstorm, so some of this made sense to me. Teferi's Protection's a little out there. There might be a cheaper version of this card that just plays better into this. Probably not a Flicker. You got to be careful with protection spells, because if you name blue or white, your auras fall off, and that obviously is pretty bad. But there were not a lot of white-based things that would make me want to target my commander with white. And that goes for blue as well. You're not really going to give protection from blue too often. And you also need a white or blue aura for it to even be a bad thing to do. So it probably makes sense to run some protection aura stuff and not feel too bad about them overlapping in a negative way. But the fact that this plays against Tier 1, I just can't recommend it because most of the Tier 1 field is pretty prepared for you. And it leads to extremely polarizing matchups where your opponent may not stand a chance at all because they just don't have the tools in their opener and you just win, or their entire deck is ready for you and there's no way you're gonna win. Like there was a Rusco matchup that was, I had such an awesome opener. Like I had a curse on turn 1, and then I had like a counter spell and a protection spell and an interaction with their first mana rock, and it just didn't matter. It just didn't matter. They cast Crux of Fate, then they cast Blood in the Snow. And I just lost. Like, I didn't have an army of interaction. They had just all, Thoughtseize, Inquisition. Like, it was just so miserable to play against the blue-black decks, and that's just all over the place in Tier 1. So you gotta approach it with the Tier 1 lens, and because of that, I can't recommend it. So let me know what you thought about it. If you've played against or played Geist, do let me know. I'd love to see a list that maybe is more tightly tuned, but again, I'd be surprised if you see a lot of success given the situation that it's forced to be in, which is purgatory. So, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.